All right, what's up? And we've got Andrew Rampulla here, aka semi-niche famous Twitter celebrity,
What's
talking
up?
about pressure washing and Christmas lights on Twitter or X now. Andrew, how old are you?
I am 21. Just turned
Oh,
just turned 21 a couple weeks ago. I'm legal now.
okay, cool. Yeah, legal drinking age, but it's
Yes,
been
sir.
getting bread in the pressure washing space since you were what, 19?
A little earlier. I when I first started was 17, and then I kind of worked around school, and then I went full time 19.
Okay, cool. So this is you get a chance to brag here. I'm asking you to brag. So you're 21 now, right?
Yes.
Okay. What are you doing in revenue in your pressure washing and Christmas light business combined in 2025?
That's a great question. I don't know. We're gonna see. I'm shooting for a million.
Okay.
Between Christmas lights, soft washing, and then a little bit of info as well. But my main thing is Christmas lights. That's where I'm putting all of the attention. The soft washing is at this point kind of just more of a lifestyle thing. Just give me some extra income every month. But I love Christmas lights, man. That's my thing. That's what we're gonna take to hopefully eight figures.
Yeah, dude. I love that. Okay, cool. So the cool thing is you and I have a lot in common. Like
Yeah.
I'm a Christmas light guy. That's how I got my start in all of the trades. So this will be super fun. But I like to look at like this through the lens of who's watching. So I know that the pressure washing isn't as exciting to you as the Christmas lights, but I'm going to start with the pressure washing.
Let's do it.
Okay. So walk me through right now the pressure washing business. You started when you were 19. Let's just start there. I saw like on your Twitter and stuff you talk about you turned $70 in pressure washing equipment into 170 grand when you were like 19. So walk me through. Let's start with like how did you start that and get it going? And then I want to fast forward into what does that market look like now? Because I think the pressure washing market has changed.
Okay.
But please, you have the floor.
Absolutely. Yeah. So when I first started, I started with literally $70. I was and this is going back to when I was 17. So I want to kind of briefly touch on that, and then we'll go to when I went full time at 19. But I started with literally $70. I was a dead broke high school student. I gave the whole drop shipping thing a chance. I gave the SMMA thing a chance. Your standard online money bro, right? I
Oh
went through
yeah.
the whole Iman Gadzhi funnel and everything. But it got to a point where I was just dead broke trying to make the agency thing work, and I was like, man, I need more money to buy more information. Is what I was like. I just don't have enough skills. I don't know what I'm doing. I want to pay for more courses. So I actually saw a TikTok um, that said you can make $100 an hour pressure washing, and I was like, I could do that. Like I have a pressure washer, and that's more money than I'm making now. Like I was busting tables on the side for like 15, $20 an hour. Like shoot, I'll
Right.
take $100 an hour all day, right? Um, so now I still hold this paradigm now, but especially when I was just getting started, speed was everything. So like I saw that next day I was out hitting the pavement. Um, and when I grew up in high school, like door to door was all I kind of knew. Like I would go. We had this food drive thing for one of our AP classes, and it was like I think every 100 like food cans you got an extra point on your class. I was like, all right, how am I gonna make this outrageously productive for me? So I was like, I'm gonna go and knock on every single neighbor's door and ask them to give me food cans. So I did that, and then I boosted. I got like 7 extra points on my AP grade. I was like, let's go. So
Right.
I was like, all right, if I
Thus,
could
the
do that
hustler, the door-to-door hustler was born.
exactly, I was like, if I could do that for food, like I could do that for pressure washing. So I went out the next day. My dad had a pressure washer in his garage. And this is what I preach, like just like scrappy business when you're first getting started. Like you see guys, and we'll talk about this later, but you see guys like blowing 10, 20, even 30 grand on a new rig, and then it goes up for sale a month later. Like, well, the pressure
Dude.
washing doesn't work for me. Like I'm getting out of the bit, like that kind of thing. Like, no, you don't need that, man. Like, yeah, you can do that, but you don't need it. You have no skills. So I started with $70. I went to Lowe's to buy a surface cleaner, and that was it. That was all the money I started with, and then I borrowed my dad's pressure washer. And I bet I'm gonna get a bunch of comments. Oh, well, I don't have a dad that has a pressure washer. Go to Facebook, bro. Go to Facebook and get a used one for 150 bucks. Go to Lowe's and rent one for a day for 40 bucks. Like, if you're the type of person that's like hearing that and making excuses for yourself, not gonna make it. So I bought a $70 surface cleaner. I hit the pavement. I started knocking doors, and my first 3 days I made 500 bucks. And at that time, that was the first major paradigm shift for me. I was like, wow, dude. Like if I can do that in 3 days, like shit, like, oh my God, So it was
Right.
that. I continued to do that for another like week or so. And then I was like, how else can I drive business? And I was in a bunch of local Facebook groups. So I was like, what if I just posted in one of these groups and like see if anyone needs pressure washing? And this was the first major point of like of luck for me because the post was terrible. It was literally just like a couple sentences like, "Hey, I'm a senior in high school. I'm trying to save up for college. I'm offering pressure washing services." And the post absolutely blew up. Like if any of you are on social media, you know that feeling when like you post something and it just starts to take off. Like it's that like rush of adrenaline. Like, man, like what is this gonna turn into?
All right, so technical difficulties, but we got you back now. So you said you posted on a Facebook group and got lucky. You can pick up from there.
Awesome. Yeah, so that was kind of the first stroke of luck, I think. I think that wasn't any skill. That was like I was in the right place at the right time. And that Facebook post just blew up. It was like really simple. It's just like, hey, I'm a senior trying to save up for college. Does anyone need any pressure washing services? And the post just went totally viral. And anyone that's like on social media kind of knows like that first like video that like starts to pick up and that kind of like rush of adrenaline. And I remember I was out at my family's place at Long Island. I remember just sitting on the counter, just like seeing all the leads come in. And I was like, oh my God, like this is gonna be a lot of money. And I was texting my dad. I was like, I have like $5,000 at the pipeline right now. He's like, all right, let's see where it goes, And I ended up doing $9,000 that first month, like just under. It was like 8,700 or something like that.
As a 17-year-old.
Yeah, as a 17-year-old, yeah. And I
Bro.
was like, oh my goodness, like my first month, I was like what did I just find? It was
Right?
kind of one of those things. And then I did my senior year of high school, and I didn't work at all during that. And I was like, all right, we're gonna run it back for the summer before I go to college. And that summer I did like 30,000, and that was like the next thing. Like, okay, this wasn't just like a fluke. Like I can actually make money. And it got to a point where like I was making $250 an hour washing houses, and I was talking to one of my buddies. We were out having like a sleepover or something. And I was like, and I told him, he's like, dude, that's more than my mom makes an hour, and she has a doctorate. And I was like,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. That's funny. I was about to say, like, you're making more than some of
yeah.
your friends' parents as a 17-year-old.
Yeah, and it was crazy, man. It was crazy. It just at the time it was like I've never seen anything like that. And it was just that huge, just like limiting belief, just totally broken. And that was my first kind of like breakthrough because I've seen like I was making a couple grand a month or whatever from agency. And I had no skills. I was terrible at delivering results, right? But that was like the first kind of like money that I actually made. I was like, wow, this is insane. So I really wanted to take a gap year, but parents were super against it. We got into like a big fight, and I ended up just sucking it up, going to college. I did a
Where'd you
semester.
go? Where'd
I
you
went to
go?
FSU.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I did a semester, and dude, I just couldn't stop thinking about pressure washing the entire time. I was like, fuck it, I'm dropping out. So I dropped out, and then I had the biggest chip on my shoulder because I did really well in high school. There was a lot of sort of like expectations on me to like go be a lawyer, go be like something like prestigious, right? And I was like, I'm dropping
Mm,
out to start a blue collar business,
yeah.
So tons of comments from like family and friends, not directly to me, but like I heard through the grapevine, like people talking, and it's like, dude, biggest chip on my shoulder. So
Of course.
the only thing I was concerned about for that first year was just proving everyone wrong, which take with it what you will, but it worked, right? So, if you have a negative motivation, dude, run with it. So
That's
yeah,
actually really interesting. I want to stop on that for a second because
yeah,
I've talked about that in a video before. Early in my career, I was like anger motivated. Like I'm gonna give the big F you to everyone who told me this was a stupid idea. Like that was really that was a common thread for me early. And if I go back, I probably like just knowing where you're at as like a early 20-year-old kid at that time, like you don't know any better. So like people now and like in our positions now, like now I'm 29, I'm like, that's not really what drives me anymore. And I almost like look down, like my knee-jerk reaction is to like look down on that. And then I remember, no, that's exactly what motivated me when I was in my early 20s because you don't know any better. Like I feel like that's okay at that moment. But I think like guys get further along, like look down on it. But it's like, no, that's the like lens that I could see the world out of at that point. Like the buddy that was hanging out with my buddies from college that was like Steve just refuses to get a real job, you know, and now he still like works at retail, you know, like he's working retail as like a 30-year-old. I'm not trying to shit on that. I'm just saying, like, if I objectively look at that, now it's like you're just winning because you just stayed in your lane and did it, where you don't even care about that guy anymore. But at that time, when they're shitting on you and you don't have any of the proof to be like, hey, you know, suck on this.
Yeah.
It is motivating. Like, you have to have that chip. So anyway, I thought
Yeah,
that was important.
and there is nothing wrong with that. I'm a big advocate. Like, if you have fuel, it doesn't matter what it is. Like, use it. Like, if you're angry, if you're upset, like, use that. Like, that is you will never have that again. Like, use it and milk it to its fullest potential, because it will propel you to very far places. And you're right. People do look like kind of down upon that, and it's like that's the wrong way to you know, you're not in it for the right reasons. You just, you know, care what everyone thinks. Who cares, man? like use that for the time that it's there.
Yeah, because you don't have the like proof yet to yourself that the otherwise motivating things take over. So like now I have like working models with 30 employees, and a Home Service Accelerator has 9. It's like I have that to motivate me now. Like, those are like more meaningful. But at that stage where it's you against the world, you don't have that. All you have is like a few people doubted you and you got no bread. And like, that's the only option.
Exactly, man. Exactly. So I say run with it. And obviously, like you said, like there's different motivators now. For me at this point, like it's kind of twofold. I was an athlete in high school, and I continued to, like a little bit in college, just continuing to train. But like that, I'm big on competition. Like I like to win, right? And if you like to win, like that's like business is a sport that you can play for the rest of your life.
Oh yeah.
And you set the rules, right? So I'm a big advocate for that.
No, dude, I love that. I love that. So, okay, so then you dropped out of school, I'm assuming, is where we're getting to.
I dropped out of school. Yeah.
Okay.
And man, I remember that the first time I dropped out, like that January and February before the season started, it was like all of the emotions. It was all of it. And like looking back at it now, it was like, all right, like it wasn't that big of a deal. But it was all of the emotions. So I was like, all right, we're gonna use all of this and just hit the ground running come March. First month we did 17.5K. Second month we did 18.5, and then third month we did 41K. And then we finished that 6-month season off right around $170,000 in soft washing sales. Those first 6 months full time. And that was like, all right, like I got something here. Like we're good. Like I'm out of survival mode. I went from like broke to like 50K in the bank in like 3 months, and I just felt like on top of the world. I was like, this is awesome. This is great.
What were your margins back then when you were staying pretty lean by yourself?
Dude, they were awesome. They were that first month our net margin was like 80-85%. And but don't get me wrong, like I'm an owner op at that point. Like I'm doing everything. I'm doing the marketing, I'm doing the sales, I'm out there washing. But like who cares, you know? But yeah, margins from that 170K was right, I think probably over 60%, probably closer to 70. When I look back at the P&L from 2023, it was 60% with Christmas lights included, but the Christmas light margin was like 30%, so that dragged it down.
Yeah, because you bought all your product in year one, so that hurts.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So it was super profitable. And I was super stoked, right? And at that point, I didn't have the $70 pressure. I actually had an actual rig that I put together in January. It was like a 5.5 gallon a minute on a trailer with like a 12-volt pump. And we cranked. Like May, we had a couple 3K days. We had a 4.2K day, which I was like, holy crap, from the 5.5 gallon a minute. And it just kept going from there. But yeah, I started super scrappy. I didn't start with money.
Okay, cool. And then when did you add Christmas lights to the equation?
Yeah, so I've kind of like a funny story with the whole school thing. I ended up going back to college after that season, because I was like, I'm like, I had a fantastic summer. All my friends are home from school. I'm working with my best friends. Like I was kind of like living the dream in my head.
Right. Yeah. You're making money. You're hanging out with your friends. You're buying everybody appetizers at the restaurant. Yeah.
Exactly, man. You know? And then I was like, all right, I have two options here. Everyone goes back to school, and I'm just kind of like stuck here in my small town in New York with like nothing to do. I feel like I'm going to be pretty miserable. So it was like the decision, like I can either make a lot more money if I stay here, or I can make a little bit less money, but have experiences that I can only have as a 19-year-old. And I decided to do that. I went back to my college town. And I did sacrifice like a lot of money for that, like probably at least like 100 grand.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
From that decision, from just like turning off soft washing at August.
For
I had
sure.
3 months, but that was like a sacrifice I was willing to make. I'm a big advocate for like experiences and like they're like just living life. Like the money will always come, right? But I like living and just and creating dad lore, right? So I decided to go back, and then
Wait.
yeah,
What did you say? Creating dad lore?
dad
Like
lore.
stories as a dad?
Yeah, man. Like you tell your kids.
No, I like that.
I
I'm
don't
gonna
want to
steal
I don't
it.
want to blow
Dad
up
lore,
my dad.
dude.
Yeah, brother.
Okay, sorry, keep going. I didn't want to
Yeah,
cut you
bro.
off. I
So
just know people listening would be like, what did he just say? Dad lore?
dad lore. Um, so it was like I ended up taking September pretty much off. I was like, all right, I want to settle into school a little bit because I'm taking classes again now, getting used to like going back to school. So I took September off, and I was like, all right, I can either open a new location, soft wash here, which the market in Tallahassee is kind of just terrible, um,
Mhm.
or I see all these people doing Christmas lights. I can just do that. So I was like, all right, we're just gonna do Christmas lights. I tried it out. I didn't start till like end of October, and then we started to hit some traction like end of October and November, and we ended that season just under 50K in Christmas lights, which not impressive by any means, but
It is impressive. Don't let anyone on the internet make it sound like that's not impressive. Like
it was
convincing people as a 19-year-old or 20-year-old, I guess at that year, depending on what he was, to give you $50,000 in 2 months to hang Christmas lights is impressive.
well,
Don't let the internet warp you. Like for every one story like you, there's about 1,000 guys that don't even make 10 grand in the same amount of time period when they start out. So I
that's
don't want to hear that.
yeah, man. But we ended up, and that was part time while at school, and I was like, okay, like at that point, I was like, this is the business. Like this is it right here, like the Christmas lights thing. So we did that, and then do you want me to go into like kind of the rest of the story, or?
Yeah, please. Yeah,
Cool.
keep going.
And then I had another semester at school, in the spring, so I didn't really, we didn't really start full time with soft washing till May. So that was kind of just like creating more dad lore, having fun. Did a little bit of part time soft washing with one of my buddies. In like March, April, I subbed some stuff out to some guys back home. And I was like, all right, we're gonna hit the ground running with soft washing as soon as I get back. So that in May we did 55 grand, which was best month for us yet. I bought a new rig, a really nice. I spent like 30 grand on it, like a really nice 8 gallon a minute, all the bells
Hmm.
and whistles. Um, and we did well that summer. We were coasting between like around like 40K a month, and it got to a point in like July, August where I just fell like into like just a bad place. I just felt super out of alignment. I felt like I didn't really know what I was doing. I was like, I don't really know if I want to be doing this. I don't love the business. So I took August off, and I was like, I really just want to sit with myself and kind of feel what I want to do because I have no direction right now. And August was like one of the worst months, dude. It was just terrible. I was like, I have no idea what I want to do. Um, and this is something that I feel like a lot of people don't do enough is just sit and think and really like sit with your emotions and just think, like take days to just think. Like a lot of people are just go, go, go and just don't take time to like step back and kind of analyze. So I did that, and I was like, I'm just going to do Christmas lights for one more season and see where that takes me. Or not one more season, just like the next season and just see where that
Yeah.
takes me. And we did that, and I fell back in love with business. I was like, we did 165K last season, and I was like, this is awesome. I love everything about this. I like working 14-hour days with this. I'll get up at
Oh yeah.
7 a.m. and we'll just rip it all day with the boys. I fucking love it. And at that point, I was like, all right, I have two businesses here where I'm like, one I don't like and one I love, right? And I was like, okay, I'm gonna kind of make an analogy to the gym in my brain. I was like, I love working out my chest and triceps. I
You
love
don't
it.
like doing legs.
I hate legs, brother. I hate it. I show up to the gym, I skip exercises, I don't like being there, and as a result, my legs aren't as big, and I don't enjoy leg day, right? So like, I was like, and the thing is like, you don't have to train legs in business. Like, there's no one
Yeah,
holding
no,
a gun
that's
to
a
your head.
fair
So you
point.
gotta train legs, or you're not gonna look good. So I was like, let's actually enjoy life. Let's enjoy business. Um, and that's the point I'm at now. Like, just trying to do things I love. I love Christmas lights. Like I said, I want to take that as far as I can go.
Okay.
And
So
and Twitter has been absolutely game changing for me. I have the best people in my corner. I've made incredible connections, and we're kind of in a position to take this really big, which I'm super excited about. But
Yeah,
that's kind
dude.
of the point we're at now. This season, the soft washing for me, like I said at the beginning, is more just like a cash flow thing. Just kind of like stack money in the bank, fund the lifestyle, and Christmas lights is going to be the big play.
Okay, I love that. So, I actually, it's refreshing because, like, I talk to literally hundreds of guys like you every month. It's refreshing that like you're completely okay with just being like, yeah, the soft washing numbers like aren't overly impressive.
Yeah,
Because like at this point, I can just smell it on a dude like when they're like embellishing numbers to try to like sound cool, just because I do this for a living now,
yeah,
like in the accelerator and this. So it's refreshing. But just like so everybody can kind of understand because you built it, you're obviously really good at marketing. We're gonna get into that
yeah.
in a little bit. But like, what are you guys just gonna do like 10K all organic a month on pressure washing? Is that pretty much what you do year round now?
So the goal is to be around like 30 to 40.
Oh,
Not like I'm not like shutting anything off, but like
yeah, okay. But
last,
you're not trying to mega scale that like you
yeah,
are Christmas.
yeah. So
Got it.
last year was under like I was spending all of the money back into the business, like all of it.
Yeah,
Um,
now you're actually taking profit.
exactly. Yeah, the first year
Yeah.
was super profitable. Last year I was just reinvesting everything. Um, and the goal was to like scale it to like 80 to 120K a month, hire a project manager, hire an office manager, and just have like that be sort of like, all right, we're gonna do $1 million a year, and I'm gonna be relatively removed. But at this point, it's like I can coast at 30K a month with one guy, relative like with a couple hours a day. So like it's just a
Yeah.
different frame that I'm kind of operating with now. Like, hey, I'm okay with where I'm at. I'm not going to try to push it to 60, 70, 80K a month. And that's okay. And that's something I really had to battle with a little bit. Like, you
Okay.
know,
Yeah. No, I like that. So I love to take this moment and like pull back the layers for somebody that's listening to actually get actionable steps. So you're doing 30K a month in your pressure washing business right now. How are you acquiring leads? What's your average ticket? Give me your average ticket first, and then how are you acquiring leads?
average ticket is right around a grand.
Okay, cool. So you're doing 30 jobs a month.
Yeah, we
Okay.
season hasn't started yet, just so everyone's
Yeah,
aware.
yeah,
We're
but I
starting.
mean, in what
It's,
May?
we're starting up in April this
Okay,
year.
April.
I don't have
Okay,
class.
so you'll do 30,000 a month. You've already got the data from last year to know that you're going to hit that with ease. How
Yeah,
are you generating leads?
yeah. Do you want to know like at this point or in the past?
At this point now, like current version of you, because this is the smartest version of you
Yeah,
that's ever existed.
awesome.
What's the
So,
current
so
way?
right now, luckily, we have a huge customer bank. Not just from previous jobs, but from like thousands of leads from Facebook in the inbox, people that have expressed interest. So I can just run a rehash campaign, and it just money kind of just pours in.
Explain a rehash campaign to a
Yeah.
listener.
So anyone that has expressed any sort of interest with us, remarketing to them. So
So you upload your customer database into Facebook, you create a custom audience, and then you're force feeding your ads down their throat.
exactly that, and then just like SMS and email campaigns.
Perfect. Okay, cool. So you'll do both. So you'll retarget them within native Facebook because like you only have to spend $20 a day to
If
do
that,
that. It's like
yeah,
nothing, not even that. And then you'll retarget them through. Do you use Go High Level as
yeah,
your? Okay, so then you're retargeting them through your CRM with SMS and email. So all of the work you did in the last 2-3 years to generate quality leads, you go back and you retarget them to get the ball rolling off the ground just to start the season.
exactly, yeah, and
Perfect.
that's what I do at the start of every season. Is I literally just sit down for 2 days and I text every single person that has ever contacted me, and it's just
Yeah.
an easy way to just generate like 10K in like 3 days, just like that, and then
Perfect.
we get the ball rolling. I literally just launched ads last night, and the cool thing is like now that we had like the pixel is conditioned, I just press on, and I already have I've had 4 leads since last night. 2 estimates sent out. I have one set for tomorrow, so like things are easy once you've been in the game for like a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Actionable.
Yeah,
Facebook, Instagram. You're running Facebook and Instagram ads.
yeah. So
Are you
actionable.
running
So the acquisition strategy that I use, that I teach to anyone that comes to me, is Facebook is the lighter fluid, right? Facebook is super easy and super quick to just get a ton of interest coming through the door, and then I like to use all of the back end stuff like Google Business reviews, search engine optimization, and that's kind of the wood in the fire, and that's what gives us long term and sustainable growth. So And it's a little bit less profitable on the front end when we're running Facebook, but then all of the money comes on the back end, and then especially with repeat customers year over year, it turned into a very profitable machine. And that's the acquisition strategy I've used for my soft washing company and for Christmas lights, and it just absolutely prints.
Yeah, but you're still profitable you're still ROAS profitable in the Facebook
Absolutely.
campaigns.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're between like 7 to 15x.
Yeah. That's a big range, just
It
depending on
is
the time of the year.
it is a bit, yeah, depending on the time of the year. It is a
Okay.
big range, and I
Yeah.
also have to get better at tracking too. Like last year, my
Yeah.
numbers were a mess.
Okay. Perfect. Yeah. I mean, yeah. My numbers were terrible up until like basically maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. I love that. So, and then when you're running ads, because someone listening is going to want the technical stuff. I'm a technical guy. Are you running video ads or still image?
Of course, brother.
Both? Or
Video,
which one?
video.
Okay.
Video is the big thing, and that's something we cracked last year. I know you do something very similar.
Yeah.
But
Always.
that took us to the next level, was just video ads, getting in front of the camera, and just showing face, right?
Yep.
And especially for Christmas lights, that like I think Christmas lights this year was a huge breakthrough, and I was like, wow, like we really have the acquisition dialed down. I was like, we've done it with soft washing, but I don't know if I could replicate this every time. And then we did it with Christmas lights at like a 10x scale, and I was like, this is it.
Yeah. That's funny. That's what I got. I got 10.87
Yeah.
on Facebook. Yeah. Last year. So we spent like 10,800 and got back like, I want to say it was like 111, something like that, roughly.
Around there.
So yeah, I mean, that seems to be the case. Christmas is definitely an easier business to be ROAS positive in for sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. I love that. That's super actionable. Do you put much effort into the organic side of things in those businesses' socials?
At this point, no. That's going to be
Yeah.
something that I really want to hit hard for, especially for Christmas lights this year, is having like an actual following on Facebook and Instagram and building like an actual audience, because that's owned. It's like quasi owned traffic. Like you still kind of are renting from Facebook and Instagram. Like actual owned is email.
Yeah.
But still, like you have an audience that you can just remarket to for $0. Which is super, super powerful. And that's something I want to really hit this year, in addition to an actual mailing list too. I see the local newsletter thing that just popped up, and I'm like, man, like I never even thought about that. That's great. So we're going to be hitting that as well.
Yeah, no, I love that. Okay, cool. So Facebook's your basic top of funnel, but then you're putting a ton of emphasis into the GMB, the Google business, all that jazz. Do you run any Google pay-per-click for soft washing?
Not for soft washing, and I
But
know I
for
should.
Christmas you will.
For Christmas I did, but I didn't put a ton of it. It was sort of like I hired a guy. I was like, here, take $6,000 and just do what you want with it. And I don't even know what the return was. Like I was bad about that.
Oh yeah.
But
Dude, you gotta hard code it into Go High Level to tag it. It's
Yeah.
super easy to track once you set it up.
I know.
Yeah, you know, who cares? If you're profitable, you're profitable.
Yeah.
At a certain point, the tracking, like getting so like militant about tracking lead attribution, like at a certain point in the business becomes almost like the guy who needs to take a 45-minute ice bath, say affirmations in the mirror for 45 minutes every morning, journal write 2,000 words, to the point where now it's 1 p.m. and he hasn't started his day for his morning routine. That's like the guys who like get overly obsessed with data. At a certain point, it's like what money went into the bank account and what money went out. Like that's it. So, dude, that's super cool. So, okay, for the Christmas lights now, this is your baby. Give everybody a rundown, because a lot of my audience is Christmas light guys, obviously.
Okay.
Right? Like that's kind of how I started. So, temporary lighting, lease model.
Lease model, bro. I get so heated with the lease versus the selling. Like, I was like, why are you selling the lights? Like, the whole business is the lease model. You build the inventory. They're sticky because they don't own the, like, I don't know. I hate selling lights. I know some guys have a lot of success with it, but like, I'm a huge advocate for leasing.
Yeah, there's a guy in Houston that does multiple M's a year. I think he's one of the biggest residential installers in the country on the sales model. But when you talk about the operational machine that he has, you'll realize that like the owner op who's trying to convince you that the sales model's better for him. And then you look at like the only guy I've seen make the sales model work is like probably one of the most operationally efficient entrepreneurs in all of the home service space as a whole. Like he has like proprietary in-house tech for his operations, his tracking, like stuff that every other Christmas light installer would never even dream of. I agree with you 100%. Like these guys that try to act like the sales model is the only way are like, they're just terrible salespeople. They're terrible to marketers and they're terrible salespeople. Because in Phoenix specifically, I've never seen a sales model company get to year 3. ever. All of us, like all of the guys who have scaled to close to $1 million in my market, which is a pretty good Christmas light market, are all leasing model.
Yeah.
Every single one of them. Now, some guys are cheaper than others. That's why they don't get to $1 million. But yeah, majority of it is that. Has that been your case in your market too?
There, so when not this season that we just did, but the previous season, there were like 2 or 3 companies in our market. There's one huge company who is a lawn care company, and they suck. Every single person that I'm not gonna name drop just in case they watch, but every single person that I have contact with, they're like, they suck. I hate them. And I was like, wow, like.
But there's no other, because there's only 3 companies. There's barely any other options for the people to go.
Yeah. So they absolutely suck, and they sell, but they sell crappy lights too. And then there was one other company who is actually a friend of mine now, and they're kind of going a different direction. They're going into a different business. Last year there were like 7 other companies that popped up. One of them that sells, and I don't think they're going to be around very long. To be totally frank, a lot of things that, or one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is that leasing is actually a value add for the right client. The cheap clients that you don't want ownership over the lights. They're like, yeah, we want to be able to price shop around and make sure we're getting the best rate. The people that you want, the wealthy clients, they don't want 4 boxes of lights sitting in their garage. Like they don't
want to worry about coordinating it.
No, they don't. And they don't want to leave it out and have to put it like the value add is that it's white glove and we take care of everything for you. We replace the lights, we can switch them out if you want. You don't have to touch a thing. Like that's what your ideal client, your ideal avatar is looking for. And if your marketing is like, positioning is like the sales, like we sell the lights to you, like the right clients usually don't want that.
No.
So real quick, a quick funny thing, like, cause I just remember this one conversation with someone who was like, I was like on the fence between us and another company, that was considerably cheaper too. They're like we sold them at like 1,300, and the other company came at like 700 or 800, but we leased them and they sold them, and they went to us because we leased the lights. They're like, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny, like you're exactly right. And then what we see in our market and what you'll start to see as your market matures, I've got like 50 installers in my market, if not more now. So our market's really mature.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is what you'll see people say is as your market keeps maturing, you'll get more calls every year saying like, oh, I bought the lights last year. Now I can't get a hold of him this year.
And no one will put them up either.
Yeah, exactly. Like, no, and then they call us and like, can you hang these lights for us? We're like, hell no, we can't touch those things, but we can do ours. Yeah. So yeah, because like these guys, in my opinion, as someone who's scaled up to where we have 30 employees now, all by the books, 2 1099 sales guys, and then a bunch of installers, leadership positions, office staff, all that. So like mine's a working machine now, and I can tell you, like for anyone listening that's not at, we're going to do $1 million this year. Last year we did 800,000 in a 2-month period. You don't understand how expensive running the business is at that scale until you get there. Until you get to where you have 3 or 4 vehicles on the road and you go get workman's comp for 28 employees that are W-2s. You go get commercial vehicle for a temporary Christmas light hanging business. You think the insurance companies like to insure that? No. They don't. And so like what happens is these guys go, oh, I could sell it for $6 a foot this year. And then next year, of course, I'll hang it for $2.50 a foot in labor. And then the next year comes around and they're like, oh, but now I have a second crew. I need to pay for this vehicle. I'm financing the truck. The truck payment's $500 a month. The insurance on top of it's $280, $300, $350, whatever. I mean, honestly, my insurance is like $490 a truck or something like that. Just absurd. And so that's what happens is these guys fly too close to the sun. They price for the current state of the business, not where the business is going. And they build an entire book of business of dog shit and then go out of business. And now it kills the market. Because the thing that sucks for you and I is people think that that's the market. So they paid somebody $5 a foot to buy the lights. And they're like, yeah, can you hang them for $2.50 a foot? And you're like, no, I'm hanging them for $11 a foot with my product.
Yeah, exactly.
It's pretty frustrating, man. Pretty frustrating.
Yeah, we were at $9 to $10 a foot last season, and it was a 30% margin. So like you take that 30% margin, and when you scale, if you don't own the lights, you have to pay you have to use that 30% for all of the payroll, like you said, the insurance, everything that finances growth comes from that 30% margin, and that dwindles very quickly. You can't you can't pay for growth on
Yeah.
on that, right? So
Growth
like,
is expensive, especially in
yeah,
Christmas nights because it's capital intensive. And the other thing too is like if you really want to scale, like you're in year 2 or 3, you don't even have sales guys yet. You don't even have commissions to pay to sales guys. You don't have an office staff that's just a flat wake up every day and set $200 to $400 on fire before the day even starts. You don't have a scaled ad spend. Like there's so much stuff that comes up to get to that next tier that assuming the thing that was frustrating for me, but it's kind of funny looking back now is like this next season will be our 6th year. And the funny thing is every year for the last 4 years have been like, oh yeah, I'll just take profits this year. But then you get in it and you're like, no, why would we not keep growing? Like we're a business. And so like last year I spent another like close to $100,000 on product because like we grew from 490,000 to 800,000. So like that product's expensive.
yeah,
And like the new vehicles, the new ladders in every vehicle, all the other stuff. It's like financing growth is expensive. So that's why I'm like obsessed with telling these guys too. Like, if you think you're going to grow this business to anything charging $5-6 a foot, you're absolutely cooked.
yeah.
Like
Have
you
fun.
will not grow it.
I'll see you in 3 years when you're out of business. Like, have
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just a lot of time people are selling out of their own pockets. But are you guys getting into the permanent light game at all? Are you sticking to just temporary?
That's a good question. So I'm sticking to just temporary for now. And the main reason for that, it's not anything like, I don't think I'm sure it's a fantastic business model. Just looking at it, it looks awesome. But I'm at a point where I kind of value location independence like a little bit more than I do having like a perm lights operation that does really well.
Hmm.
So my thing right now is like I'm slowly kind of scaling out of the soft washing. I'm looking to maybe sell next year or bring on an operating partner that kind of runs the day to day. But I value being able to travel and to live where I want more than I value more income from like the perm lights where I like, and it's the same thing. Like I contemplated starting roofing as well. And I was like, I can build a huge fucking roofing business, right? Like I could do that
Oh yeah.
and it will kill and I will make a lot of money. However, like I said before, like I'm a big advocate for playing the game how you want to play it. Like there are no rules, like you create them. So like play however you want. And that's where I'm at now. Or like I'm just playing how I want. Like I love like I'll batten down in Tallahassee for 3 months and make just a shit ton of money and I love it. Right. But the rest of the year I'd prefer to just kind of, be able to go where I want.
Yeah. No, I love that. Okay. So you said you want to do 1 million in temporary lighting this year, correct?
Total with soft washing and
Oh,
aluminum.
it's soft washing. Okay. So you'll do what? 400,000 in soft washing? 300,000 soft washing?
Probably like three.
Okay.
'Cause
So
it's only like between like April and like July, August.
okay, so what's the formula to get that 700 from temporary lighting? How many vehicles are you running? What's the strategy?
Yeah.
All that jazz.
So my goal for templates is 500,000.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
that's what I'm shooting for.
Oh, and then the info is the other 200,000. Got it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So 500,000 for Christmas lights. Let's
Yeah.
hear it.
Yeah. Cool. So average ticket. And I ran the numbers for like where I want to be down the line, and I was talking with one of my mentors, and he's like, the big problem you have to solve because I want to exit way down the line. It's like the big problem you have to solve is how do you install 6,000 installs in 2 months? Like that's the problem. I love like I'm a problem solver. I grew up like coding and doing like cool like fun project. Like I love solving really complex problems. I was like, all
Hmm.
right, like that's it right there. How do we do this? How do we install 6,000 installs in 2 months? Like who do we need to hire? And really it's just personnel. Like who do we need to bring in to the company?
6,000 installs or 600?
6,000. This is not for 500.
Oh, this is long term.
This is long term.
Got it. Okay.
Long term.
Got
Like,
it.
I want to do like 15 million in Christmas lights.
Okay, cool.
'Cause we ran the numbers for like what I want to exit for and like what we need in terms of like a multiple and like what I need to be in top line. So like 5 years down the line, whatever it is, like how do we solve for this?
Yeah, you're pricing for your future self. You're building for your future self. Like you have the end goal in mind.
Exactly. Yeah. So in terms of this year for 500K, acquisition is pretty much solved. Like we have all of the campaigns. Like I'm not worried about that. the thing that I think is going to kind of take us to the next level this year is just on the conversion side with appointment setters and salespeople. Because the actual fulfillment, a lot of times this is a bottleneck for a lot of people, especially as you scale. I have a fucking killer on my team. Like I talked about this in the DM with you. Just an absolute killer, and I think it's similar to your partner. I don't remember his name. The tall dude. Yeah,
Jack.
Jack. I have a Dylan, and he's just a killer. Like we can install 10K a day with three guys without an issue.
Oh yeah.
So this season, my plan is two crews. Hopefully, last season our average ticket was 2,200, so hopefully getting that closer to 3K. So even with like a $2,500 average ticket, that's 200 installs divided by like 60 working days is just over 3 installs a day. So I was like running the math, like that's more than doable.
Yeah, dude, that's pretty dead on with what we model too.
Yeah.
So it's refreshing because like your numbers make sense.
Yeah, it's a math game. That's all it is.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, yeah, our model's very similar. So we shoot for 15K a day, 60 working days, but in reality, we know it's going to be about 55 with rain and, issues, whatever else. And it's pretty much dead on. And the cool thing for you too, because you've been in Christmas business for 3 years now, right?
2.
This will be your 3rd year.
This will be my 3rd. Yep.
Yeah. And so the cool thing for you, and I can just kind of get you excited about, is your average ticket will continue to go up.
Yeah.
Like it absolutely goes up. Because every year that you do a good job, it's people that come back with more trust and they do bigger and better. And it's just like, for us, our average ticket was like, gosh, I don't have the numbers in front of me anymore. But it was like, first year was, I want to say like 1,800. Second year was like 2,200. Third year was like 26. Fourth year was like 32. And then fifth year was 38.
Okay. Yeah. So you've gone exponentially up.
Yeah. But we've built like, you've been to Arizona once.
Yeah.
Right. So we built we are the name in Paradise Valley and Scottsdale. So we have athletes, celebrities, we have Fortune 500 CEOs. Like we have a Fortune 500 CEO that's residential job is 31 grand.
I saw that, man. That's crazy.
Yeah. It's like, you might as well be doing a hotel at that point.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. We do like the W hotel, but what happens is it's cool because it's cool to hear. Cause you're like, I don't think I'm old. I don't think I'm like a boomer compared to you, but I'm 8 years older than you. And it's really interesting. Cause I wish at, 21, 22, I had forward thinking that you do now. Cause I was so in the moment, how do I make money now? I never thought about what 3 years from now, 5 years from now is going to look like. And it stagnated growth a lot for us. We should have been doing 800K in year 3 if I had the mindset that I have now and the understanding we have now, but that's just part of the game. So it's super cool to hear you younger, already having that kind of mindset and idea, because what happened to us is I think that the guys that win, we could talk about ads all day long. We can talk about sales all day long. We can talk about different structure, operational structure all day long. The underlying factor of the guys that win is they don't get distracted and they do the same thing and optimize it year over year over year over year, while the other guys in their market go chase the new shiny red toy and the new woman in the red dress all the time. It's dude, the guys that are winning now, because I remember talking to guys 3 years ago that were in the same year that I was doing the same revenue, and they have stayed at pretty much the same revenue because ad costs have gone up and haven't grown at all. And a lot of that was due to the fact that they just were not forward thinking at all. They weren't thinking about their future selves. They're just how do I make money now? So dude, it's super, super dope. I bet I'm going to call the shot for you. You'll be doing permanent lights within 2 years.
You think so?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I think so. I think you'll do it. I think you'll do it like we are. And I think you'll look at it as more of a commercial play, and then you won't be able to resist. That's my prediction. I might be wrong.
We'll see.
But yeah. Dude, that's super cool. So, okay. Tell us, do you want to talk about your info product?
Real quick before that, I want to touch on another thing that you mentioned with the forward thinking. A big thing that's really helpful for that is being out of what I call survival mode. I'm at a point now where I've almost totally detached from my bank account. It's I don't care what's in there anymore. Right now, I care what's in it in 5 years. But that only that wasn't the case for a very long time, because it's I was very much so how do I make money now? How do I stock away and stock away and stock away, which is good. But you get scared to spend and you get scared to take risks, especially when like your like livelihood is kind of dependent on the business. But when you detach and when you view business as a game and you're not so emotional about it, that's when you just break through. Like that's
Mhm.
like I think that's the biggest thing with business is learning to manage yourself and learning to manage your emotions and detaching from all of the emotional like things that are just like eating you away and viewing it as a game. Because when you take a third person view and you look at it and like because you I'm sure you've experienced this and I'm sure people that are watching have experienced this. Like someone will come to me and like asking like how do I scale, like how do I fix this problem, and I'm like, oh, like duh, like XYZ, like you just do that. It's like, well, like why don't I just think like that with my own business? But it's because your emotions are tied to it, and it's like it's your livelihood and it's your baby, and you have you have clouded judgment, so you don't make the right calls. But when you're able to detach and like view your business as if it was someone else's, it's just a whole different paradigm. And like I said, you could just view it like a game and just take the necessary like for example, if you're like in like I don't know a first person shooter type game and it's like or like any sort of game where you're like you have to spend like 5,000 tokens to like upgrade to the next vehicle to upgrade to the next gun or whatever it is. You're like, well, I have 15,000 tokens and the 5,000 is going to make me an extra 30,000 tokens. Well, obviously, right? Let's make that play. Let's hire this person. Let's do whatever. But when you're in the weeds, it's a lot more difficult.
Dude, yeah, that's funny. On the group call for Home Service Accelerator, I use that analogy. It's like it's just a big RPG video game.
Yeah,
You're just leveling up, man.
that's it.
Like it's like yeah, it's really true. I think the big thing for younger guys especially, and like again, I don't have $100 million business either. I'm just talking about what I've seen in my own experience has gotten me to this point, and what you've probably experienced similarly in your business is like in the beginning, I cared so much about what was in the bank account because I wasn't making enough, one, that I really cared, but two, I was living out of the business bank account for like the first 2, 3 years. And so like I never was able to make big moves, buy an info product, go get a mentorship from somebody that was killing it way bigger than me, like all sorts of these, buy vehicles, because I was spending everything that was coming in because
Yeah,
I was like, trying to keep up with the Joneses or whatever else. Because these guys that are owner ops, were like, I think the business is at its most vulnerable point when a guy's starting out, when it first starts to make real money, because the lifestyle creep comes in like pretty much immediately because you've been like pinching pennies, pinching pennies, pinching pennies, and then for the first time, the business bank account has 100 grand in it, and
yeah,
you're like, oh, I can go buy a Rolex now, like I can go finance this crazy Tesla or like something like that. And then these guys wonder why they don't grow at all between like year 2, 3, and 4. It's because like you're emptying the bank account, like you still have a job at that point.
you're
Like
choking the business of oxygen.
yeah, exactly. So you can fund like what's not even like that fancy of a lifestyle. Like what's really funny, and like I'm sure you experienced this too. We were DMing about this on Twitter for a little bit. Is like, what's so funny is if your thing is travel, right? Like if you're like thing you really want to do is travel. If you get the business to a point where it's like a cranking marketing machine and it's spending like a decent amount on paid ads, and you get an Amex Gold card and it's like 4 times points on any paid ad, your travel is free. Like I haven't paid for a flight or a hotel in like 2 years now, just off of credit card points from the business. So it's like most of these guys want that, and I'm like, dude, you don't even have to spend your actual money on that when the business gets big enough. Like you could just like literally survive off of smart credit card
Yeah,
points.
so I'm glad you brought that up because that's pretty funny. I like compared to other guys, I don't, but like in my mind, I live a great lifestyle. I travel, I stay at really nice resorts, I fly first in business class, and I don't spend a fucking dollar.
No.
I flew back from Europe on Sunday. It was a $15,000 flight that I spent 100,000 points on, and like that's it. I stay at a fucking 5-star resort for 90,000 points. It's all free, like you said, like it's all free. Like you can have a sick lifestyle traveling, and it's free just because you're spending money on the business.
Yeah, exactly. And so like we're not saying that to flex. I'm saying that as like people start the business to buy a certain
Yeah.
lifestyle. And a lot of the time, like a lot of young guys sub 30, their thing is they want to travel. Like they want to have location independence like you talked about. And I'm not saying that to flex, and Andrew's not saying that to flex. He's saying that like you get the business to a certain scale, all of those travel things are figured out. Like if that's your thing, it's figured out.
Yeah.
Like, dude, yeah, I'm the same way. Like, I would never dream. Like, I don't even think I would pay for first class on most of these flights. I just have so many points because, like, I mean, you see my ads. You see my ads on Facebook all the time. Even Home Service Accelerator alone, like that's spending like $15,000-$20,000 a month on ads. Like that's 100,000 credit card points just about every month off of just that. So it's like, yeah, it's funny, dude. It's super cool. Okay, and then you have an info product. You're gonna teach guys how to build pressure washing and Christmas light businesses. Is that what it is?
Yeah, so we're putting together a beta program right now. It's just going to be 13 students, and then my goal is to just kill it for these 13 students. Just get a ton of testimonials. Because in my mind, like the pressure washing thing is a pretty cool business. Like you can make 30 to 40K a month. It's not going to be easy. Like I'm not going to portray it as like, oh, you're just going to kick back and like have this passive income. Like you're going to eat glass for a little bit.
It's
but
the
like,
opposite of passive.
yeah, it's for sure. But like you can make 20 to 25K a month profit off of this. Like, you know, you have one or two employees, and it's a great business. And that's what I've done. And I'm like, man, like I don't have these aspirations to, you know, take it to 80 to 120K a month, have this multi-million-dollar pressure washing empire. But a lot of people, and the problem too, when you get to a certain point is you don't realize that like people don't like, not everything is just like obvious or like second nature. Like it comes to like when you've been in the game for a little while. Like when I'm talking to some people, like even my one buddy Dylan, like he has a pressure washing business, and he asks me questions sometimes, and in my brain it's like obvious. Well, yeah, you just do XYZ, and he's like, oh, you know. But like those things aren't like second nature to people who are just starting or like under, you know, 20-30K a month. And I'm like, I'm just gonna make a blueprint, and I'm just gonna give it to people, and cool. And because that's how I got started too. Like I forget that like I got started from info, and I got started from watching people online. And I'm not gonna pretend like I have like, oh, I just want to help people. You know, like I do really want to help people. I do want to see people succeed. It's also just a great business model as well. But we're starting up a beta program, like I said, just 13 students, get a bunch of testimonials, and rock with that. Teach people how to make 40K a month pressure washing.
Yeah, dude, that's dope. That's super cool. Yeah, and like, if you get people results, like who cares, right? Like I was the same way. Like I paid for an info product for Christmas lights 5 years ago, and it like completely changed my life. So it's like, you ever see those memes, like the midwit meme where it's like the idiot, and then the middle's like the angry mad person, and then the last one's like a Jedi?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? I think that like that is a perfect example of who buys info products and like buys courses. It's like the dumbest people in the world buy courses. The middle pack intelligence who think they're really smart don't, and say every course or like info products a scam. And then the smartest and most successful people, like the Jedis in that meme, buy info products and courses. Like I see Tommy Mello talk about like he buys mentorship and coaching and everything all the time. And I'm like, if a guy that built a 200 something million dollar business did it, I think I can probably benefit from something like that too.
Yes. And this isn't just to plug info, but what people like don't understand sometimes, like we live in the best time ever. Like no other time could you simply find someone online and pay them to show you exactly how to do it. Like you just like, success is super fucking simple. It's not easy, but it's super simple. You just pay someone and they show you how to do it. Like that's it. Like you can just shortcut your way to the top because people have done it and they're willing to show you how.
Yeah, exactly. And like, that's where I don't even really consider Home Service Accelerator an info product, because like we do a lot of hand holding and like teach them how to run ads and like build it into their businesses and stuff like that. But it's really interesting because like we've helped like 250 something people about it now in like the last basically year through Home Service Accelerator. And the funny thing that we've started to have to say on the call is like every single thing that you're going through in this program is like the boat is just put in the right direction. You still have to row.
Yeah.
Like you still have to row. And the other model is like paying an agency or something to do everything. But then you're just gonna lose all of your profit, and usually, in my experience and your experience, like get dog shit results from some guy who took an Iman Godzi course and, you know, is charging you $2,000 a month to do something you can learn for free. So, dude, I mean, I get it. That's super cool. I'm super stoked for you. I'm excited to hear how the Christmas season goes. That's okay. The last thing I want to do, and like in 5 minutes or less, like I want you to explain. Let's say I present you a 20-year-old right now. Let's just say I actually go middle 20s. Let's say 25-year-old right now. They're working a 9 to 5. 25-year-old person working a 9 to 5. They don't have a lot of savings. They say, I want to start a pressure washing business with the info you know now. So they want to start a, geez, dude, that dinging is,
Yeah, just do not disturb.
no, you're good. So 25-year-old wants to start a pressure washing business now. Not a lot of savings. With the info you know now, what do you have them do in order? Give me like 2 or 3 bullet points. Like, what is like the main non-negotiable thing they have to do?
It's cool. The first thing, and I know this sounds kind of like high level and like wishy-washy, but really just like upgrading like the way you think, and actually believing it is possible. And because it's difficult, but like the problem that especially like the reason 0 to 10K a month is so difficult, it's not the actual, it's just there's so much, so many paradigms that you have that are just wrong. Like you don't view the world correctly. And that takes a lot of time to rewire, especially when you're 25 years old and you've seen things through like a lens, and a lot of times you just don't believe things are possible. But I'd say the first step is just kind of taking a leap of faith and kind of, it sounds like super, again, wishy-washy, but just like believe in yourself. Like believe that it is actually possible and act in accordance with that belief. Like you see people doing it, you can do it too. No, like these guys aren't any smarter than you. Like you just have to go put in the work. So that's gonna be like step one.
Mm-hmm.
Step two, like I said before, you can get started with pretty much nothing. Don't spend 10, 20, 30K on a rig. And if you're, 25 years old with a 9 to 5, and you're like, kind of broke or whatever, like I'd probably get a 4 gallon a minute. It's like $800 or $900, get a downstream injector, for like $50, and you're off to the races. And now you can soft wash houses for $250 an hour. So you have really bare bones equipment they can get for under $1,500. If you're really on a really strict budget, you can do it for under $300 with a pressure washer for $150 off Facebook and a couple smaller things. And then when you are broke, you usually have more time than money, right? So I'm not going to say start spending $100 a day on ads. I'm going to say go hit the pavement, go learn the messaging, go learn the sales, go knock on doors, post in fake Facebook groups. My first 40K from pressure washing, I touched on it earlier, was from 5 Facebook posts and like 200 doors. 5
like Facebook group posts,
Facebook
like not
group
ads.
posts, completely free. The post averaged $9,000 in revenue per post. So you can just do that and it's free, right? Like you can just do that. And then you have the equipment for under whatever, like $1,500, under $300, and you can just go do jobs, man. Like go on YouTube, go look up how to soft wash a house, go practice on your mom's or whatever. And it can be a weekend thing. And don't jump off and quit your 9 to 5 and you have absolutely zero skills. But you can make, $1,000 a day on the weekend. So, 2K a weekend times 4, you can make an extra $8,000 a month just working weekends. And then once you're like, hey, we're a little bit, I kind of know what I'm doing, then go quit your 9 to 5 and take it full time. I don't.
I like it, dude. That's good. It's really that simple. Like it really is.
It's not easy,
All of
but
the, like, yeah, all of like the I need an EIN. I need to go on LegalZoom. I need to just
it's
let that come to you.
The thing I tell people in the beginning is focus on IPAs, income producing activities. Making a website isn't an income producing activity. Filing an LLC, doing all this like things that like make you feel good, don't actually bring money in the door. Like your only concern when you're broke, when you're just starting, is making money. Like don't spend 5 days on a website. Like I made my first that first season with soft washing Christmas lights, I had no website. I made $220,000 with no website. Just to Google, but like you don't need it. Like it's just, again, like I said, it's mental masturbation. People like to feel busy, but it doesn't actually bring money through the door. So focus on that.
I like that. Okay, last question. I've started to ask everybody this. Do you vividly remember the first person who ever gave you money to do a home service business of any kind?
I do. Yeah.
All right. What was it? Give us the 30-second story for everybody. Like even guys have been in business for 30 years. Everyone remembers their first time someone exchanged them money for the business that they created out of thin air. What was yours?
It was my neighbor down the road. And I knocked on her door. It was this really old lady. And I was like, I'll wash your walkway for $40. And she was like, okay. And I did it. And my pressure washer actually broke during that first job. And I only got like 1 square of the walkway done. I was like, hey, sorry, like I can't do it anymore. She's like, okay, and still paid me the $40. I was like, thanks.
So, yeah, I mean I guess that's $40 service. So
yeah.
She got what she paid for. Yeah. Dude, it's awesome. I love asking that question because it doesn't matter. Like everybody that I talk to, no matter where they're at now, they remember the first person that exchanged them money for like this concept that they thought about from thin air, and it.
Yeah.
you know, that's so cool. But all right, dude, that's super good. We'll have you out in Phoenix and we'll do an in-person one and go a little bit more in depth and all that jazz. But I appreciate you hopping on, dude. This was super helpful for people.
I love it. Absolutely. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, of course, man. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. Peace.